Hello from Angry Golem Games. Welcome to this first video in this channel. In this video we are going to talk about non-linear adventures. We are going to explain what a non-linear adventure is by presenting a title. The title here is, as you can see, Shipwreck at Heartspoint. Okay, this is a first edition adventure published by Dungeoners Guild. Here you can see all the data, okay, all the information. And this kind of adventures are classic in old school style. Usually when you play recent, more modern adventures, they belong to a category known as linear adventure. They are much more linear stories, and the party, the players run this, play this story as a sequence of events or of scenes. Things were a bit different many years ago. Here we are talking. That's why we talk about we say old school. This adventure, it's a good representation of what a non-linear adventure is. Now, this is a title that was written around 7 years ago. It was written in 2012. Now, Shipwreck at Heartspoint. What we are not going to do is to see how to run the content. We are just going to analyze the content. We are going to see how the elements that compose this adventure are brought together to create a non-linear adventure. So the first step is to have a look at the PDF. If you ever come to play with one of these adventures, you need to have a look at it. The main difference also between an old school non-linear adventure and a modern adventure is the length. Usually, non-linear adventures are shorter in terms of pages. Okay, this PDF is just 11 pages of content, but it doesn't mean that the adventure itself is a short run. It is not a one shot, because it can last even 2 or 3 sessions, depending on how the Dungeon Master approach and lead in some way the party. Now, I have written on this document, Word, in advance what the elements of this adventure are. Now, when we talk about elements, usually we talk about locations, or wandering monster, or non-player characters, or key monsters. So we have the element number 0. I call this one element number 0 because it is the main location. It's like the headquarters of the party when they start the adventure. It is the main location. So location number 0, Hamlet of Heartspoint. Then the shipwreck. I even marked the page so that it is easier to get to the paragraph. The beach, the abandoned hut, the undersea cave. These 2 elements, which I am marking in red, are locations that are initially unknown to the party. Okay, so the Dungeon Master, by doing this, has an idea of what places are present in the PDF, in the adventure. Fine. So far it's easy. To obtain this information, you have to read before, in advance, the adventure, of course. Then we have the Savaging Band. Here we are not talking about a location. Here we refer to monsters. Okay, the Savaging are key creatures that are part of the ongoing plot. Okay, then we have the Selkie. The Selkie is in this adventure is much well. This creature may play the role of a monster depending on how things will develop, or it can be a non-player characters. For those of you among you that don't know what a Selkie is, the Selkie is basically a sea creature and a shape changer. Ars Point event list. Okay, this is what matters most when we talk about non-linear adventures. Event. We mark this one in red just for the importance. Events are they can be time events or triggered events. Are events that occurs when a certain amount of time passes. Okay. In order to have a dynamic non-linear adventure, you need to have an idea of what the events are and what they do. Okay, what the main role of an event, with a countdown. Let's say every event has a main, we can say a countdown. Every event usually impacts the whole scenario. Okay, what an event does is changing a bit or changing a lot one of the location, for example, or all the locations. It depends on what we want the event to do. In a Shipwreck at Ars Point, this specific adventure, we have 5 events. Okay, we numbered them, and we are going to see each one of them because, of course, you have to specify on the PDF which these events are and okay. Here we are with the analysis of the first location, the hamlet of Ars Point, which we marked here on page 2. Now, the hamlet of Ars Point is, we said, the headquarters of the party. The party basically arrive at this community, and from there they start the exploration of the whole scenario. Okay, being the main location, of course, it has sub-locations, and we are going to see what these sub-locations are, why they are useful for the party. Then, here in these paragraphs, for example, refers to basic equipment and supplies costs. We don't need these, of course, but we should, for example, take care to read this one. Keep in mind that old school adventures, in this case, old school Renaissance, usually contains many homebrew stuff. Okay, it is not just about the rules inside the main handbook. No, it's not that. It is normal to find homebrew details, like this one, for example, what kind of items are available. Here the adventure impose a limitation to the access of to the equipment. Okay, you cannot buy everything, and even then, if you find something, there is a chance that it is expensive or it is cheaper. This is up to the dungeon master to define this detail. In this section, which are few pages of the PDF, it just explains main non-player characters. Here we have Holson, an half-elf cleric, basically the pastor of the community. We have Killman, a third level fighter, who play the role of the warrior, okay, of the town, and in some way the leader. Keep in mind that Ars Point in this adventure is very small, 100 people. Then it provides a quick reference table with a number that mark each building inside the hamlet. Later we'll see on the map, no? There is a map with every building numbered. Then building type, which are what the building is, in the occupants. Okay? It's not that hard. It's useful because it allows me to have the player, if the party, for example, want to explore the whole hamlet, or just go random picking things to do, we have at least an idea of who they can find in each building. Okay, male, female, child, families basically. And this is the map, the local map of Ars Point. Well, don't mind about the graphic style. We say that we are not explaining completely the content. We need just to have an idea. Probably you can do better, I don't know. But this helps us to have an idea of what the hamlet is. Of course, in such an example, mapping a whole community of 100 people, it's easy. You don't have many buildings. If we are talking about a capital city, well, here the whole things change. No one is going to provide specific and detailed information of a capital city, for example, building by building. It is madness. But if we have just 100 people, I think we should do something like this. We need to have an idea in every building, what every building does, what every building contains, who is living there. Okay, then it provides the scale, 1x equal 100 yards or 100 meters, depending. So the main element of this adventure is detailed quickly, but fully, so that the player can interact. In some way, this allows the dungeon master to have the party familiarize with the main location. Then we are going to see how these interact with the events, of course. Okay, because if we are talking about events triggered by time, maybe the party doesn't have 1 week to explore and know, meet and talk with every citizen. Okay, here we said, here we have here the paragraph of the events, what we were saying. We have five events, and we are going, in this case, we are going to see each one of them. Hardpoint event list: event 1, event 2, event 3, event 4, event 5. Now, event 1, Rory and Gibble, probably two commoners, two non-player characters among those that live in the town, stay out looking for treasure past sundown. Okay, just wait a moment. This adventure is about a shipwreck. Okay, the hook that motivate the party to visit this town is gold. A boat crash against the rocks in the sea, and rumors say that the ship contains gold. Fine. Imagine you have the character, the party arriving at the town looking for gold, basically. Also, there are rumors that the crew, or better saying, the spirits, the undead spirits of the crew, now are hunting the area because they are looking for their gold. So we have two elements, one positive and one negative. Gold, the reward; undead, the danger. Hardpoint event list. Let's go back to this. Event 1. Rory and Gibble stay out looking for treasure past sundown. Okay, these two guys probably are looking for some gold, the gold that was lost during the shipwreck. The Savaging Band captures one of the two. Okay, here it introduces the key monsters, now the key villain or villains, because there are more than one, they are a band. The Sea Devils take this Savaging Band basically try to capture the one of both of the non-player characters. Event 1, okay. This event, okay, here comes the sentence that we needed. This event should occur within 24 hours after the party arrives in Hardpoint. As we said, the party doesn't have a week unless the Dungeon Master wants to change the countdown, okay? The Dungeon Master can make changes in this adventure. He simply states that after 1 week, the Savaging Band move, Rory and Gibble stay out looking for treasure, and they are kidnapped. It depends on how much time you want to give the players before things start moving. Event 2. Here we have. Here we mark in our sheet what the events more or less do. If the events occur in a specific place, you can take note of it. Okay, but event number 1, expressed in hours, is 24. And here I have a countdown, and while playing I reduce the amount of hours that will lead the situation to the first event. If you are talking about days, where it will be days. So you just need to take care about this detail. How much time is passing. Event 2. A fisherman, Miko, who lives in building number 26, and here we can have a look at the map, for example. The building number 26 is this one. It seems to be at the border of the town. Okay, yeah, much isolated. Miko, the fisherman, does not return from the day's fishing. The next morning, some fishermen find his boat washed on the rocks a couple hundred years east of Ars Point. Well, east is you. Here you can place. I think this event, you can have this event occurs when it is most useful for you. After event 1, things will start taking shape, so keep in mind this detail. Now, his nets and a lot of fish are found, but Mikold is missing. Okay, another non-player character disappear. PC that inspected both closely discovered a number of coincided green scale, Sahuagin scales. Okay, event 1 and event 2. For example, event 2, these events should occur a day or two after event 1. What is going on here? The Sahuagin are kidnapping the villains, no? The bad guys are kidnapping the villagers. In event 1, shortly after the party arrives, and event 2, after 1 or 2 days, 24 or 48 hours, event 1 occurs. Okay, so there is a sequence of events that have to trigger. This is in order to have the whole community and the player characters also start thinking about what is going on here. Okay. Now, being this one a non-linear adventure, it is even possible that here in event 1, for example, let's make an example. In event 1 occurs on the beach, which is a location. Okay. Event 1 occurs within the first 24 hours. Do not exclude, the Dungeon Master should not exclude that the characters may decide to have a look at the beach. Okay? In the first 24 hours. They may decide that the rumors that these undead spirits are looking for their treasure, they may decide that they may discover by rumors in towns that the spirits has been spotted at the beach, and they may decide to explore the beach during the night. So even in a non-linear adventure, what can happen? Even if the adventure states that 2 non-player characters are those who are kidnapped, it is possible that 1 or more characters go to the beach during the night when this event occurs. It is even possible that suddenly they have to face a danger, and they even see Rory and Gibble, no, crying for help. Do not exclude. There is nothing you can exclude. There is nothing you can exclude when running a non-linear adventure. Okay, let's go on with event 3. I made a little break. Event 3. Okay, an unfamiliar woman arrives at the Codsmouth Tavern, the local tavern, nothing special. You can change the name, of course. What happened here? What happens here? Now, unlike event 1 and event 2 that trigger with time, with the passing of time, event 3 doesn't care about time. Event 3 triggers, and here it clearly say this event should occur after the party has done some initial exploring of the beach or the wreck. So here we took note, event 3, after beach or shipwreck. Now, this is not mandatory, okay? Remember, this is a non-linear adventure and almost everything can happen. For example, sometimes with the non-linear adventures, things may overlap. It is perfectly normal. Now, for sure, this adventure asks the Dungeon Master to manage carefully the sequence of the events. So event 3 should trigger after at least event 1 and event 2 occur. Now, this is one of the non-player characters, and this is quite an important one, okay? Because the Selkie, Yelola, that is her name, is strictly connected with the presence of the Sawajin, okay? Basically, the Sawajin are going after her and something that she has, okay? That's the main focus on that. However, we don't want to know what the event contains, but we want to understand how the structure works. Then let's see event 4. Okay, event 4. The Sawajin kidnap 1 to 3 random villagers from Ars Point to question them about whereabouts of the Selkie and the crown. The Selkie is the person the Sawajin are looking for. The crown is an object, an item that the Sawajin think is connected with the Selkie. Okay, but let's see in detail what this event does. Here, the last sentence, this event can occur anytime after events 1 and 2. So, here, we have seen the Sawajins striking the villagers. They are looking for something, probably the Selkie. They don't find the Selkie at the beginning, but in event 4, they go straight for the villagers. It means they cross the border of the village of Ars Point, and this can occur anytime after events 1 and 2. So here we take note event 4 after event 1 and event 2. Okay, all these events interconnected between each other are useful to create in this model an escalation of events. Okay, the drama starts to rise more and more. The situation is getting worse and more dangerous because no one prevents the dungeon master to make that the Sawajin, when they attack during the night, of course, maybe they cross one of the characters or more of them. You know, many times, many players want their characters to spend the night somewhere. Okay, players are not acting random; they are just role playing. Okay, do not expect that their characters arrives at destination, they sleep, they eat, they do the stuff, and they go to sleep. No, it doesn't work. It doesn't work that way. Okay, and here appears another location. We'll see later the undersea cave. Okay, so event 5. Event 5 is the final events. Okay, event 5, in frustration, the Sawajin assault Ars Point just after midnight. Okay, in crescendo. Okay, the situation evolve and degenerate in crescendo because now the Sawajin have decided to attack the whole community. So in such situation you should expect, I don't know, Ars Point is overrun by Sawajin, and the character as well, the villagers who are not particularly good at fighting, but you have other non-player characters like the Major or the local cleric that all together will have to deal with these menace. Now, when event 5 should occur, here it says, this event should happen after all other events occur. The finale of the adventure. Okay, and so this is more or less the sequence. Okay, event 5 after all events. The Sawajin the Saracens attack Hars Point. Finale. This is an easy sequence. It is useful because it helps you to manage and administrate carefully what is going on. Of course, you are free to add, the Dungeon Master is free to add other events, to add more stuff, and this is the good of a non-linear adventure. You can have the party build their own path, and you can add stuff while doing, and you are not going to jeopardize too much the very structure of the plot, because the plot is very flexible. Once you get what the elements are, the plot becomes very flexible. Doing the same with a linear adventure is a bit more complicated. It has implication, because usually in linear adventures, it means adventures that requires a sequence of events that must occur in sequence. If you do not respect this line, the Dungeon Master will have a hard time in managing, properly managing the plot. Okay, so we are done with the events. Now, here we have another interesting section. Town rumor list. Well, this is useful. I always suggest, especially with non-linear adventures, to create town rumor. For example, in linear adventures, town rumor are a good source of side quests. Okay, you already know that. If you have an ongoing campaign and you want a little bit to deviate from the main plot line, you create subquests in order to drive the player, to lead the player toward that side quest. You need to give them some clue. You need to give them a bait. Rumors are it's one way to do that. This is not the only way, of course, no? But town rumors are the most famous. We have 12 rumors, probably because you want the Dungeon Master to roll a d12, or maybe because they are just ordered. However, the module offers the source and the chance to know about this specific rumor. Okay, so information and rumors in Hars Point and so on. Pretty useful. Now, here we have another map finally. In this map we have the local area. So here we have Hars Point, okay, where the main events occur. Then we have the other elements. So we said before, the abandoned hut and the undersea cave. Here is the undersea cave and the abandoned hut. Both places are unknown to the player, at least at the beginning. Now, here we have another element, the giant throne, but we should place it. The giant throne, okay, let's say this one. It doesn't matter if my number does not match the number here. Imagine I'm just taking note now. Now, the giant throne is where the shipwreck occurred. Okay, here is the ship, which is one of the main reason, and the gold and supposed gold inside the ship, which is one of the main reason the party decided to adventure and visit Hars Point. The beach, but we already talked about it. Here it is, the beach. Now, The giant throne and the shipwreck are the same, so we can do something like this. We change it again, it doesn't matter. The shipwreck barra the giant throne. Okay. The Sahuagin camp, well, this here is another possible location, because the Sahuagin usually, not usually, always dwell underwater. If characters are level 2 range from level 2 to level 4, I don't think they are able to explore an environment located underwater. It is unlikely, unless the dungeon master want them to explore their camp, but I don't think that it is going to happen. The Sahuagin band, of course, we said the Sahuagins are the main villains here. They are the bad guys, and so it provides a description. Here it describes why and where they are here, how many of them there are. Here it provides stats in first edition for a Sahuagin, that is a female, and a 4-level lesser cleric. Okay, here it is interesting. Well, as you know, Sahuagins are led by females. To be more specific, the clerics, no? So this is the leader of the whole school of Sahuagins. And then it provides some stats for the Sahuagin males, who are nothing more than the fighters. Of course, even here you will need to make proper conversion. Finally, we have seen some of the elements, and here it starts at page 7 to describe the shipwreck. Okay, so remember, this is not a sequence, it is not a chronological sequence. They are just descriptions. So it is possible that the players, in order to solve this, to conclude this adventure, they visit any place at any moment. You don't know. So here it provides a short description. A couple of pages, nothing more. Here it describes the beach. The beach maybe is an interesting place. I think that the most important location in this module are 1, the shipwreck, 2, the beach, because they are the more accessible location to the party. Okay, we have to say something more, but for example, if we have a look at the global map above, here you have something called Westmere. Okay, this is As Point, an hamlet, and this is Westmere, another small village. Now, the module doesn't provide any content for this village, but it is not very far from Ars Point, and it is possible, it is likely, that the characters gather enough information for them to know, or maybe they have a map, to know that Westmere is a small community that is not so far. They may decide to cross all the beach and walk and visit Westmere. Here it's up to the dungeon master to manage a bit of improvisation. Of course, if you consider that this is an 11 pages model, and you have the time to read the content in advance, you can expand a bit the whole content, because this is usually what happens with non-linear adventures. I don't know of any dungeon master who has not enhanced the content of a non-linear adventure, both before starting session and while playing session, while running a session. Okay, so let's go to the beach. The abandoned hut. The abandoned hut here, it provides a description where it is, how the party can find the access to this location. The undersea cave. Sharks. Okay, sharks are other. Now you have to read the whole adventure to understand. Sharks are not wandering monsters in such a case. Sharks are nothing more than the pets of the Sahuagin. So the Sahuagin has a tight control of the waters. So if the player ever decide to adventure in waters, in the sea, especially when they try to visit the shipwreck, the giant throne, the rock where the shipwreck is located, you may want to give them some hints. For example, you can see by far a shark swimming around that behave weirdly. Maybe if you have a ranger in your party, you should care about these details. Okay. Okay, these are the stats for the Silky. They are usually the stats of the non-player character stats in this kind of modules are described at the end of the module. So the last page, experience point, and concluding the adventure. Okay, experience point, this is another small section. If you want to give extra experience points for solving puzzles, for making proper conclusions, for understanding exactly what is going on even before the Dungeon Master provides explanations, here you have some ideas. It gives you some ideas. But this is a section, usually a Dungeon Master manages this section on its own way. Okay, every Dungeon Master usually have its own way to award extra experience points. So as you can see, 11 pages is not a lot, and it does not include, of course, the cover. You find in the description the links, various links, and among them you will find also the links if you ever want to buy this adventure. I suggest you to buy one. The publisher has published so far 4 modules, always the same style. They are for Advanced Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition. They are all made according to the non-linear building style, but it's something more to know. Okay, so I don't know if this is all, but let's make a resume to see if we understand what we are talking about. So we said non-linear adventure. Again, you first have to imagine the scenario. Okay, the scenario can be a local map like in this adventure, or a smaller location like a dungeon maybe. By the way, inside this scenario you must identify, you must think about, especially when you are in the creative process, you need to think about, okay, what are the relevant locations inside this scenario? What are the relevant locations that are worth to be described, are worth to be mapped? Fine. Are all these locations known to the characters, to the players? Among these locations, there are some locations that maybe are completely unknown. Just because you need to manage how much information you are going to transmit to the players. This is very important. The transmission of information, of clues. And this is about places. However, even monsters may be elements. Wandering monsters are not elements. Other monsters, usually occupants, they may be irrelevant elements, but in this module, for example, I think that two creatures that must be considered as elements of the adventure are the Savaging Band and the Silky. Okay? Yes, if you want, you can add the Major and the local priest. Fine. But if you read, when you will read this module, you will see that their importance is not a primary role. They do not play a primary role in the adventure. They help maybe the party, but not at the beginning. And the contact the party makes with them is not so relevant to be considered an element. And now, Hearts Point Event List, this is what makes this module a non-linear adventure. Okay? So, elements, locations, elements, creatures, events that can be triggered by a countdown, time events, or an event that is triggered by a combination of other events. Okay? Now, this is, as I said, this is my first video. Probably my English is not such a great thing, I understand, but I will make more videos. If someone has questions or wants to analyze something that he is preparing at home, I will be very glad to provide my opinion, or if I have some tips, absolutely ask me and I will answer for sure. Bye bye.